Hi, my name is Adebayo, and in this tutorial I'll be showing you how I created my video for the animation at work 2022 with Cartoon Animator 4. First, I'd like to plead that my mic is very bad, so there might be a lot of noise behind it. And then my system resources is not good enough to carry a whole lot of softwares, including my screen recorder at the same time. So I might be skipping some of the tutorials, but I will be dropping the tutorials in future, or if my viewers request for a particular thing, I will specially do it and send it over. So please pardon me as I'm going to be very fast with this work in progress. Okay, so first of all, open my file where I just have every bit of things. So these are my references. I have taken images from Shutterstock, FreePig, Google, and so many other places, and I sampled them. Like this cock you are seeing here, I recreated the scene and came out with something like this. And the B2 that you see over here, I recreated. This is a real image, and I recreated it to get where's my B2, to get something like what you are seeing here now. Let me zoom on it. So you see I can zoom and the quality is still looking very good because I created it in Adobe Illustrator. So if you go now, you see over here, this is the Adobe Illustrator that I created, and this is the real image. So you see how good it looks. So for those that might just want to see how I created it, let me just open and quickly explain before I go further. While that is opening, I also want to let you know that I paid a studio to create the voiceover for this project for me, and then they also created an instrumental because I discovered that all the instrumental that were on YouTube didn't fit for the kind of script that I created for this animation. So I just had to go into the studio to create all that. And also the voiceover, I wanted something African, and Replica Studio, which I always use for my voiceovers, couldn't give me the African kind of voice that I needed, so I just had to create it myself. So if you look at here at the layers over here, you see that everything is just intact the way they are. Okay, so from here now I just export into Photoshop by going to File, Export, and then Export As. Choose the Use Artboard and then just click on Export, and it's going to export. As you can see, I've exported so many others which I've made use of in this animation. So this car scene that you are seeing is this car back. That's the name I gave it, car back, and then 01 is automatically added to it. So just click on Export and it will give you this. And now I brought that into Photoshop and just did some cleanup. I merged some things together, like the tires. I drew them one by one, or I drew just one tire and I duplicated it to the front in Illustrator, and then I drew this other tire and duplicated it to the front. Then in Photoshop I merged the 4 tires together. As you can see, the 4 of them are together. So I wanted this hand to feel like his forearm is inside while the arm is outside the window. So that's why I had to put them on separate layers. You can see over here and over here. So with this now, I save it and then send it into Cartoon Animator 4 to start animating. This is the reference that I use for the bride, So, and this bottom part of the skirt is also what I use. So I sampled some other pictures just to see what I could use, but excuse me, I ended up going for something very simple. So here, this is where I got the white guy from. As you can see, this particular guy is where I got the white guy that I used in this animation. And there are so many other things that I created which we might not be able to look into at the moment. But as you can see here now are my rendered scene. Let me go back into Cartoon Animator 4, and then I have saved the projects. As you can see, all of them here. So this is one where I used the car. So I'm just going to launch it. So while that is launching, let me go back to my scene. So over here, I have my rendered scene. So I created all my scenes in different batches. So you see now I have the cock, then the female that is singing at the beginning, then this is where the car is moving, and then where he finds his way, and then where he meets the parents, and where they start discussing. And if you look at the title here, you see it's scene 5, scene 5, scene 5, and then scene 6. So in this part, I created just one scene, duplicated it into 2 other scenes with different views, so that when I take them into my video editor, I can play around with the scenes to show different parts, and it brings more life to your editing. So if you're working with Illustrator and you click on any of the thumbnails, you will be able to see a preview of it, but with Photoshop you will not be able to see that. So here now is the white groom that I drew in this Illustrator. Then this is the scene where the lady is singing. I just drew that separately. So the project file I've opened, and as you can see, I brought in the car, and if I just scroll the playhead, you see that the beetle is moving already, and the tires and everything is shaking to make it look like it's actually vibrating. And how did I achieve that? Once you bring in your Photoshop document as a prop, you will be able to access it by clicking on this little prop key editor that you are seeing over here. And the moment you do that, it's going to bring up another smaller menu where you can now start selecting every part that you want to edit. So like his hand, if I select his hand, you see the hand is selected. If I select the other hand, and then the smaller hand. So what I did here was to bring in the full character. Then I use the render style, the mask. I use the mask to hide all his leg, and then I just turned him upside down and attached this hand to the prop so that I can move it a little to put a little bit of realism into his hands. So I'll be doing a full tutorial on that in future, but not for this work in progress, because I just need to get this done. Okay, so I just move him around, and if you notice, all the scenes are more of short scenes. As you can see from the time in here, they are not. I don't think any of the scene is up to 1 minute. So I just break them into pieces so that I can go and join them up in my video editor. Okay, so I'm going to launch another one. So like the cock scene, I launched that now. Here is the cock, as you can see, and if I press the K, or if you bring your cursor to the 2D motion key editor and you click on it, it's going to show the bone that I created on the cock, which I used to animate it. So as you can see, this is the bone I created for the cock, and when I move my playhead, you see how the bone is functioning on the cup. So that's how I did that. Then for the crow, I got the sound effect and added it to the cup. Let me play this now. So that's just how I did that. And then for the lady that is singing, if I double click on this, it's going to launch her into the scene. And so all these scenes that you are seeing here, if you notice, I gave it scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, scene 5, so that I can easily arrange them in my video editor and make use of all the things that I need to do. So over here, I also created a bone for this lady, but in this case, I used another template from Cartoon Animator, which I took into Photoshop, and then I rearranged everything about her inside Cartoon Animator. And the template that I used is the sunflower in Cartoon Animator. So I click on project, and that's just how I followed up all my scenes by animating them and also putting all the necessary things in place so that I can have a good and neat workflow. So after doing all this, I rendered each scene, which I have showed here, and after rendering each scene, I dragged everything into my video editor and edited everything together, put sound effects, and my work was just good to go. And then I uploaded to YouTube and submitted. So this is how I went about my own workflow for the Cartoon Animator project contest. And the title that I gave this is The African Bride, and all I just wanted to do is to bring in African style into the animation competition to compete with other African styles that will be coming up and other American styles that will be coming up too. So just like I said, my system is very slow. You see, this particular scene is very loaded, so it's going to take a little bit of time before it loads, but I'm not going to allow that to delay me. So I'm just going to close all this, then I'll just quickly show you what I did in my video editor so that I can wrap this up. And just like I said, I'll be creating tutorials on each scene. Okay, so over here now, I have all my scenes in the media bin, and if I scroll down now, you see all the arrangements that I've done from beginning to the end for this project. So if I scroll down, you see where I have the audios, where I have the videos, the text, and all the effects that I use are all here, and the timing and everything can be seen from here. And all I just did after that was just to export and save my work and send it up to YouTube. So this is how I went through my own project. I hope you have gained something from here, and thank you for watching.